Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today guys, we will be taking a step into a new series which will be called Beginner Scripting Tutorials. So in this video we will be looking at Roblox Studios, its appearance, its basic elements, and how to navigate around it. So once you open up Roblox Studio, if you don't have it already, you can go to Roblox Studio by downloading it. I'll put a link down below in the description of the video, or you can simply go to roblox.com/create to get started on your first project, and then that should send you to where you can download it. And we want to create a new blank game, so we go to new right over here, and we select the base plates to have a new base plates, and just with no components inside, no parts, just a base plate. Now flat terrain is for terrain, village, castle, suburban. It's pretty self-explanatory. Here we can see our games. Here we see the recent games that we've played. Here is our archived games which we do not want anymore. So we can go to new and we can click on base plates. Now we will be greeted with a blank piece of game. So right over here we have a base plate. We cannot select it because it is locked inside of the properties, which we'll be taking a look later. So let's take a look at these tabs on top. So first we see the paste button right over here. This is in case you had something open, so I just copied it, the base plate, Control C or Command C depending. Now we can click on paste to paste another. It's self-explanatory. Now we have copy, cut, and duplicate. If I select this, we can copy it, we can cut it, we can paste it back, and we can duplicate it, which we do not want to do. There are easy shortcut keys to do this. For example, paste is Control V, copy is Control C, cut, I believe cut is Control X, and duplicate is Control D. So right over here we could see in the tools section we have select, move, scale, rotate, and collisions, constraints, and joint surfaces. So for select is let's just enter in a part for an example. Select is where we can just select it. The move tool is to move it up and down, or other directions as well. The scale is to move or to change the proportion of the parts or the scale. Right over here we just created a little floor mat, and then we can rotate it through the rotate tool right over here. Now we have shortcut keys to do this. For example, we can to select an object we can do Control 1. To move we can do Control 2. To scale we can do Control 3. To rotate we can do Control Control 4. Boom. And now we can undo by clicking Control Z, or just to go through these arrows right over here. This is to redo, Control Shift Z, and this is to undo, which is Control Z. Collisions is basically if you want to collide with other parts. And we can turn that off. You can see it can go through the base plates. Constraints and joint surfaces, we won't be looking into that right now. The editor is where you can create new pieces of land. Again, we won't be looking into that. And the toolbox is where you can get free models for your game. For example, this tree is a free model, and it is featured in a lot of games, and we can basically just use it. And I recommend you looking out for free models, because some can be viruses and can damage or harm your game. The parts is just as we showed, we can enter in parts. We can also select in spheres, wedges, and cylinders. The UI is just to create user interfaces. Is to create the GUI, so two-dimensional objects on your screen. An example of this would be a donate button or buy button, or just other buttons in general in other games like you see on screen. The color tab on the edit section or the material. Whenever you click on a part, you can change its material by going to neon, force field, marble, ice, and basically all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna make it wood planks so that it looks kind of cozy. And now over here by the color, you can see we have a little GUI pops up right over here. And what we can do is we can change its color, self-explanatory. I'm gonna make it a cozy little color. This one looks alright. Now we can lock or anchor or group parts. So let's just say we have two parts over here. What we can do is we can we can click on one, click on the key shift, and click on another part, and that will select both of them at the same time. We can click on the group over here to make a model. We can make it group 1, or we can name it floor mat. And that is to the properties tab, which we'll be looking on later in the video. We can also go through this button right over here. We just made another model. I'll just be doing Control Z to undo this. The lock is the same. So right over here, I just clicked on lock and I clicked on this right over here. So we cannot select it. It is the same as the base plate. So if we clicked on it, you could see it is locked. But if you go on the part, you can see that it is also locked. To unlock it, we just uncheck this thing, and now you can see we can select it and move it around and stuff again. To anchor it, we can just go through the anchor place on the edit tab, or we can just go through the properties. So we click on it and we head on over to behavior and we just check anchored. Anchored basically allows it so that it could stay up wherever it is without making it go down when we play the game through gravity or force fields or anything else. Test is where you can play the game. Play is you play and you spawn at the default spawn location. Play here is when you spawn where your camera is, and run is when you run only the scripts. Stop is just to stop the game. Game settings, you need to publish your game in order to use this feature. Team test is again for another video. The model tab over here is where we can transform or move things. We've already looked at that. I believe we went into this place. So we've done the home tab, and now we can finish off the model tab. So unions, negate, separates, those are solid modeling. For example, if we add in another part and we make sure that the collisions are off, let me just make it a different color and a different material so that we know where it is. You can see that when it is through or when it is inside, we can negate it. Then we can control shift with another parts and we can create a union, so it creates a hole inside, and so that you don't have to use extra parts to create this thing. The negate and the separate is just to separate the other ones. So we can separate again to redo or undo everything else. The constraints, we won't be looking into that. So effects is basically, you could see an explosion should have appeared. If we zoom out, we can enter in an explosion. No, it didn't happen. No, that's fine. It's basically effects on particle emulators, which you can add inside. You can see particle emulators over here. And spawn is when we add spawns. So spawns is basically like when we test the game, we can add spawn points around the map to spawn on those particular positions of the map, depending on where they are, instead of all at the same area, etc. So now we have the advanced section. Scripts, local scripts, and module scripts are all types of scripts we will be looking at in the series. Not module scripts though. We can run the scripts through this. We can make collision groups, collision groups, services. We can add the teams and the replicated script service tab, and we can add models, and we can insert some objects. If we go to test, you can see we could test your game. So we can go to device, and it sees how it would fit. For GUIs, this is really important to see the scaling, if it fits for all devices, etc. We can make players, and we can mute the audio. Here is clients and servers. We can switch between the server and the clients. So for example, you have published your games, it's all set and everything's fine. You can hop on Roblox Studio, and we can go to the clients, and then you can mess around with the parts to kind of change the game when it is on. So now we can play test. It's a simulation. We've looked at that before. So the view tab. This is where we get the explorer and the properties. I believe that it looks a little like this when you first enable them, but I like to keep it kind of simple and put it to both sides of my Roblox Studio. So we can enable them through the view tab over here. The asset manager is where we can publish the game. We have to publish the game in order to use this. The toolbox is as we looked before. Tutorials is where you can get amazing scripting tutorials, building tutorials, any kind of tutorials that you can have on the Roblox Studio. We can browse objects in the game. We can have the outputs, which we'll be looking at in the next video. We can have script analysis. We have a command bar. I personally don't really use this much. We have breakpoints, call stack, watch, everything else, yada yada yada. We won't be looking much into that. We can have the view selector, which we can basically see what axis we're looking at. So for example, right over here, this is the true middle or back. You can see this is back, this is the right, this is the front, this is the top, and this is the bottom. You can see it's really accurate. And so now we can have it to full screen. We can record and screenshots. Something I really like is we can show the grid over here, which goes on endlessly, but you can see our base plate is pretty big, so we can just move that through the Explorer tab. Boom. And we can just basically make it like that. But that is to see where grids are, and basically, yeah. Now I like the grid material because it's aesthetically pleasing for me, and when you put it to green, it looks really nice. It just looks really nice. You can see all the other parts are affected by this, and I just think it's really cool. The wireframe is not so nice, but you can get the thing. It's pretty self-explanatory. So then we have the stats, and we can clear everything and stuff. The plugins is just plugins to help with development. I'll probably make a video on which ones I use. These plugins aren't all of them, or all of the ones that I use. I also use a couple others. But now let's take a look at the Explorer and properties to finish off this video. So in the Explorer tabs, we have the workspace, the players, the lightning, the replicated first, replicated storage, server script service, server storage, starter GUI, starter pack, starter player, sound service, chat, localization service, and test service tabs. So the workspace is basically where we insert in parts to create maps. As you can see right over here, it could the material was wood planks. We could have made a house with it with parts, but we can also use something that is called a blender, which is what we can make some stuff, for example guns or just houses or just materials in general. A blender is a really cool application which I definitely recommend for you to use. The players is whenever we are in a game. I'll just go in a game right now so that you can see. We can head over to the players and you can see that there is one currently in the game. And we are here. So let's stop the game right now. And if you go to lighting and we go to the properties tab, you can basically change how everything around us looks. How the atmosphere looks, we can change it and everything. Replicated first is something not too advanced, but we won't be looking into that. Replicated storage, we might need it for some videos in the near future. The server script service is where we keep all of our server scripts. For example, if we add one in, we can make some variables, but however, I assume that you do not know how to do that yet, which is why we won't be looking into that. The server storage is basically what its name is, the server storage. The Starter Gui is, as I said previously, it is a place where we can add frames and make a look button. So I'm just going to create one really quickly so that you get the hang of it. You can see this is a test button, or we could say we are in a game, we can click on test button. Sometimes it is something else like a donate or shop or things like that. Now in the starter pack is, for example, if we add in a tool, well then, for example, we add in a sword and we add it inside of the starter pack. Well then, when we spawn inside of the game, then we will automatically have the sword with us. The starter player is something a little different. Sound service, chat, localization service, we won't be looking into that. So the properties tab, let's say we go into parts, we can change its properties. For example, the color, you can see the material. We can't really see right now because if we add her to view, we could change this off, and we can change the material to smooth plastic, and we can change it. We can change the transparency. One is the max. So we add it to 0.3, well then it is the opacity kind of changes, or transparency. Now the max is also 1 for everything, so the reflectancy it looks like the skybox if we put it to 1. So we can add it to 3 to make it some kind of, this looks really ugly, but you can get the idea. So we can change the name from the part to say, let's say mirror, because it kind of looks like a mirror, or no, let's just say skybox. Or sky. And we can change its orientation. We won't be looking into that. We can change its parent. A parent is basically what the part is inside of. So the parent of the sky is the workspace, and the workspace and the sky is the child of the workspace because it is inside the workspace. And so the position is self-explanatory, and velocity we won't be looking into that. Anchored, archivable, anchored, and can collide. Can collide is if your character can go inside of it, and anchored is we've looked into that previously. Locked, we've done. Size, self-explanatory. Shape, we can actually change what it is, so we can choose to ball, to cylinder, but right now we'll keep it as a block. And that is it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have, well then make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, because I will be creating other videos such as this one, and we will be continuing the series so that you know how to script.